Hello students, I welcome you all in the e-learning classes of physics, and in this video today we are going to discuss about the topic error in detail. So before going into the discussion of this error, first I would like to introduce you these two more terms which are very important so far as error topic is concerned. So these two terms, accuracy and precision, are sometimes considered to be same, but it is not so. These two terms are different to each other, although they are related to each other, but they are having the different sense so far as physics or so far as measurement is concerned. So this accuracy, first we will define what is accuracy in fact. So accuracy can be defined as the closeness of a measured value by any instrument, measured value to the true value of that measurement. For example, I have two voltmeters through which I am measuring the voltage difference between 2 points. So the reading of first voltmeter first, is 2.54 volts, and the reading of second voltmeter is 2.50 volts, and the actual value of the potential difference is suppose 2.53 volts. So if I ask you that if this is the true value of the potential difference, then which voltmeter is more correct? So your answer will be, sir, voltmeter 1 will be more accurate as compared to voltmeter second. So this is about the accuracy. Accuracy is the closeness of the measured value to the true value. So here the true value is 2.53 volts suppose, and voltmeter 1 is measuring this value as 2.54. So this is definitely more than the true value, but it is closest among these two values. So there is the difference of 0.03 volts between the reading of voltmeter and true value, voltmeter second and true value, while the difference in these two readings is merely 0.01 volts. So this value is more correct, or I can say that voltmeter first is more correct, more accurate in fact, as compared to voltmeter second. Okay, so this is about accuracy. It tells us about the closeness of a measured value to the true value. Now coming on to the point, precision. So for this I am taking two examples. So first we can define it. So precision gives the idea about to what extent or resolution the measured quantity is being measured. So this gives an idea about the extent or resolution up to which this quantity is being measured. For example, I am taking once again we can take different example also. Suppose I have a meter scale whose minimum value, or which using meter scale we can measure minimum value as 1 mm, which is also known as list count. We will discuss it later. So the list count of this meter scale is 1 mm, and the list count of screw gauge is suppose vernier caliper is suppose 0.01 centimeter, and so as the list count of the screw gauge is 0.001 centimeter. Okay, now we can measure the length up to 1 mm correctness, we can say, or suppose I am measuring the length of or between 2 points. So while I will be using this meter scale, so suppose the length is measured as 1.1 mm. Okay, now if I use this length with the help of vernier caliper, so it can be expressed as 1.01 mm. Okay, now if I measure the value with the help of screw gauge, it comes out to be, suppose this was 1.0, suppose 1.101 mm. So if I ask you that which value is more precise, so you will say definitely this value is more precise. Means we have measured the value, or we have measured this length between A and B while we are using screw gauge, and in screw gauge we have measured this value up to 3 decimal points, and while using screw gauge vernier caliper we have measured up to 2 decimal point, and in this case we are just measuring up to 1 decimal point. So which measurement is more precise? So you will say that this measurement is more precise. Means up to what extent you are measuring that quantity is known as precision. So I hope you got the idea that what is accuracy and what is precision, and what is the difference between these two terms. Although an instrument which is accurate may be or may not be precise, as well as the reverse is also true, that an instrument which is more precise may be or may not be more accurate. So these two terms are different, although they both are interrelated to each other. Okay, now let us define the term error, because in this video lecture we are more focusing on this topic, that is error. So error can be defined as the uncertainty in the measurement of a physical quantity. So this is the uncertainty in the measurement of any physical quantity. Now question comes in our mind that why is this uncertainty in the measurement of a physical quantity, or on what factors this uncertainty actually depends. So we will discuss it in the next topic, that is what are the sources of error. So let us try to discuss what are the various sources of error. So now we will define what are the types of errors in the measurement. So there are 3 types of error, or we have categorized the errors in 3 categories. First one is we can say systematic error. Second one is random error, and third one is list count error. So let us discuss one by one what are these errors are all about. So systematic error, as the name suggests, these are the values, or these are the errors in fact, which occurs due to the error in the system itself or the measuring instrument itself. So these are the errors, or errors occurs due to the we can say imperfect designing of instrument or improper calibration of the instrument. So these are the reason behind the systematic error. And more important point is that systematic errors are always unidirectional. These errors are always unidirectional, means if they are positive, all the errors will be positive. If the readings are negative, then all the readings will be negative. So these are unidirectional, either positive or negative. In one direction always systematic errors will occur. So it is quite easy to rectify such type of errors. This type of errors can be rectified easily by simply recalibrating that instrument or redesigning of that instrument. So such type of errors actually do not make any harm, or we can say such type of errors are repairable. So we can remove or rectify such type of errors by just making the instrument, redesigning or recalibrating. Okay, so these are unidirectional errors. And there may be sources of error in systematic error. So systematic error, first one is, we can say, instrumental error, which occurs due to the fault in the instrument. Okay, so these are instrumental error, we can say instrumental error. Second source may be the imperfection in the we can say procedural imperfection in the procedure. If the procedure of taking reading is not perfect, then this type of error will be considered in systematic error, because there is no other factor on which this error is depending. This is the fault of the system in which the observer, the instrument, all are accompanied. Okay, and third source may be personal error. So if we deploy such type of personnel who has not any experience of how to take readings, or if he has some visual defects, then definitely the measurement will become wrong or become faulty. So such type of errors are considered in systematic error. So I would like to once again recap this systematic error, which occurs due to the system due to the fault in the system itself. Okay, and they are unidirectional, means positive or negative, either positive, either negative. And sources of such errors are instrumental error, which are due to the wrong designing of the instrument itself, imperfection in the procedure, if we are not following all the do's and don'ts of that experiment, or if we are not following the proper guideline of doing that experiment, then definitely readings will be wrong. And personal error, these errors occur due to the inexperience of the observer. Okay, now Coming on to the random error. So as the name suggests, random means zigzag, or we can say these error occur all of a sudden, occur all of a sudden. We cannot predict such type of errors, which, when and why they will take place. So such type of error are known as random errors. So these error occur all of a sudden, that's why they are known as random. And one more thing which is very important about these errors is they may be bidirectional, or they are bidirectional, we can say, positive as well as negative. These errors are bidirectional, may be positive, either positive or negative. Okay, one more thing about these random errors, that they cannot be rectified. They can't be corrected or rectified. Means we cannot rectify or improve such type of errors, avoid such type of errors. Now the question comes that what is the reason behind the random error to be occurred? And the reason is sudden change in the environmental conditions in the measurement, or during the measurement. So that is the cause behind these random error to be occurred. So since we don't know what change is actually going to take place during one reading, so that is why such type of errors are known as random errors. So these may occur in both the directions, may be positive sometimes, may be negative at the other time. Okay, now we are coming on to the last type of these errors, and this is list count error. So first we will define what is list count. So list count we will use frequently in laboratories while doing the experiments of screw gauge, vernier caliper, or any experiment. First we will find the list count of any instrument. So every instrument has its list count. So what is list count? First, list count can be defined as the minimum value. List count is the minimum value of any physical quantity, or of a physical quantity which can be measured with the help of an instrument. So the minimum value which can be measured with the help of an instrument is known as list count of that instrument. Suppose, for example, I am once again taking that example, that the meter scale, let us check the list count of meter scale. And as you all know that the meter scale can measure minimum value up to mm. So 1 mm will be the list count of such meter scale. Now let us talk about vernier caliper. You will study about vernier caliper in your practical syllabus or in labs. So vernier caliper and screw gauge, these are the two instrument with the help of which we can measure the small distances. So let us talk about first vernier caliper. The list count of vernier caliper is 1 divided by 100 mm. So it is 0.01 mm. So the minimum value that can be measured with the help of vernier caliper is 0.01 mm. So this will be the least count. So as screw gauge, it can measure up to 1, or its least count is 1 upon 1000 mm. That means it has least count of 10 minus 3 mm, or we can say 0.001 mm. So the minimum value which of length which can be measured with the help of a screw gauge is 0.001 mm. So if I use meter scale for measurement, then definitely the maximum value, or you can say the minimum value that can be measured is 1 mm. While if you are using vernier caliper in the measurement of the same length, then the minimum value that can be measured is 0.01 mm. So this is more precise, and as compared to all three, this screw gauge is most precise. So any instrument has its own limitation beyond which it cannot measure that quantity. So the error which occur due to the resolution or least count of that instrument are known as least count errors. So these are the types of errors and the sources of errors we have discussed in this topic. And now we are going to discuss about some other types of errors known as absolute error, relative error, percentage error, and thereafter we will try to have some numerical problems on the topic errors. So you can note it down for a while. So now let us discuss about some other types of errors which we face in our measurement. So first type is absolute errors. So first we will define what is absolute error. The difference between a measured value and true value or mean value, in fact true value or mean value of that physical quantity is known as absolute error. True value is known as absolute error. Okay, we will discuss later the relative error and percentage error by using the absolute error, but first we want to focus on this absolute error, how these absolute errors can be calculated, and what are the number of absolute errors which we can have in a particular observation. So the difference between a measured value and true value is known as absolute error. So suppose I have taken n readings of a physical quantity with the help of any instrument. So these readings are A1, A2, A3, A4 and AN. Suppose these are the n observations I have taken with the help of any instrument. Now if the true value has been given, then it is fine. Otherwise what we will do, we will find the true value with the help of all these readings. So what we will do, we will average these values. So first we will find out the mean value or average value of all these readings if the true value is not been given, which actually sometimes happen that we have not been given the true value. Then we have to consider this mean value as the true value. So what will be the mean of these n observations? So you will say A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on up to AN divided by the number of observations, that is n. So this is how we will calculate the mean value, and now we will treat this mean value as true value. So now according to the definition of absolute error, the difference between a measured value and true value is known as absolute error in that measurement. So let us talk about the very first reading So the very first reading is A1. So what is the difference between these two values? So you will say that it will be A1 minus A mean, and it is represented as delta A1, the absolute error in the very first reading or A1 observation. Okay, so similarly you can have delta A2 as A2 minus A mean, and delta A3. What is delta A3? The absolute error in the measurement of third reading. So A3 minus A mean. So this is how we can measure up to delta an minus A mean. So by using this formulation we can calculate the absolute errors. So now we will discuss how the relative errors can be calculated or what are relative errors. So relative error can be defined as the ratio of mean absolute errors to the mean value or true value, to the mean value of that physical quantity. Now let us try to find the relative error in this set of readings. So we are having the mean value as this, and we are having the relative or say absolute errors as this. So what is mean absolute error? In fact, what is mean absolute error? So it is the mean of absolute errors. Mean absolute error means the mean of absolute errors. So let us try to find the mean of these absolute errors. So mean absolute error which is denoted by delta A mean, or we represent mean absolute error as delta A mean. So now we have to take the mean of these absolute errors. So these absolute errors may be positive or negative, because random error may occur in either direction, or these observed reading may be greater than the true value or less than the true value. So we have to take the mode of these all absolute errors, and thereafter we will take the average value. So what is or how the mean absolute error can be calculated? So you will say mode of delta A1 plus mode of delta A2 plus mode of delta A3 and so on up to mode of delta AN. We have to take the magnitude or mode of all these absolute errors, and thereafter we have to calculate the mean value of those absolute errors. So this is how delta A mean is calculated after having calculated the values of absolute errors. Okay, so this is mean absolute error. Now the ratio of mean absolute error to the mean value. So the ratio of mean absolute error, that is delta A mean, to the mean value means A mean. This is known as relative error. So this is the formula of relative error. So using this formula we can calculate the relative error or fractional error. Sometimes it is also known as fractional error. Okay, now we are coming on to the percentage error. So how the percentage error can be defined? Percentage error. So if I express this relative error in percentage by simply multiplying it to 100, so this is known as percentage error. So how we will define percentage error? If relative error is expressed in percentage, it is known as percentage error. So now the formula for percentage error will be percentage error is equal to delta A mean divided by A mean multiplied by 100. So using this formula we can calculate the percentage error. So now we will try to solve a numerical problem on this topic so that you can easily make a concept how to calculate the absolute error, relative error and percentage error of a observation. So next we are moving on to a numerical. So now let us try to solve a numerical problem on the topic error. So this example I have taken from NCERT. We measure the period of oscillation of a simple pendulum. In successive measurements, the readings turn out to be 2.63, this is very first reading, 2.56 seconds, 2.42 seconds, 2.71 seconds, and the last reading is 2.80 seconds. So these are the 5 observations or readings have been taken with the help of simple pendulum. Okay, the time period of the simple pendulum with the help of stopwatch. Okay, so what we have to calculate the absolute error, relative error and percentage error in the measurement. Okay, so we have to calculate the absolute error, and you know that absolute errors, the number of absolute errors are exactly same as the number of observations. So we have taken 5 observations, means there will be 5 absolute error in each and every measurement. So first we will calculate absolute errors. So absolute errors in the measurement of in first reading, so it will be delta A1, and the formula for absolute error is the difference between measured value and true value. So it will be A1 minus A mean. So first we have to calculate the A mean, since the true value has not been given, and as I have make you understand that if true value is not been given, that the average of these all readings is considered to be true value or mean value. So first we have to find out the mean value in fact. So mean value, A mean can be written as A1 plus A2 and so on up to A5 divided by 5. So what is the value of first reading? You will say 2.63, second 2.56, third 2.42, fourth 2.71, and the last is 2.80 divided by n, that is 5 observations we have taken. And when you will solve this expression, so the mean value comes out to be 2.62 seconds. So this is the mean value which is considered here as a true value. Okay, so now you can easily find out the absolute error in the very first measurement, that is A1 minus A mean, and I can write here as A1 is 2.63. So 2.63 minus A mean is 2.62. So it comes out to be 0.01 seconds. So this is the absolute error in the first observation. Now in second observation, delta A2 will be A2 minus A mean. What is A2? A2 is 2.56. 2.56 minus 2.62. So it comes out to be negative, since this measured value is less than the average value. So it will be negative 0.08 seconds, or we can say it will be 0.06 in fact, 0.06 in fact seconds, but it will be negative. Okay, delta A3 will be A3 minus A mean, and what is A3? A3 is 2.42. 2.42 minus 2.62 will be 8 and 12 and will be negative in fact, so minus 0.20 seconds. So this is the highest error you can say. and in negative direction. A4 will be A4 minus A mean, and A4 is 2.71. 2.71 minus 2.62, and while you solve this value, it will come out to be positive and 0.09. So this will be the value of absolute error in fourth observation, and the final observation is 2.80. 2.80 or A5 minus A mean, 2.80 minus 2.62, and it comes out to be positive 0.18. I can say yes, 18 seconds. So these are the absolute error in the measurement of all these measurements which have been given in all readings, you can say. Now we have to find out the relative error also. So what is the formula for relative error? Relative error is equals to mean absolute error, that is A mean delta A mean divided by mean value. So we have already calculated mean value, but we are not having delta A mean or mean absolute error. So first we have to calculate mean absolute error by using all these absolute errors. So what was the formula for delta A mean? Mean absolute error can be calculated as the average of all the modes of absolute errors. So this was the formula, delta A1 plus mode of delta A2 plus and so on up to mode of delta A5 divided by 5. This is how we will calculate the mean absolute error, mean of these absolute errors, we can say, and we will consider only positive sign here. So mode of delta A1 will be 0.01, mode of delta A2 will be 0.06, and 0.20, 0.09, and last reading is 0.18, and divided by 5. So it comes out to be 0.11. While you will solve this, the value comes out to be 0.11 seconds. So this is the value of mean absolute error delta A mean. Now we have to find out the value of relative error, and the formula is mean absolute error divided by mean value. So mean absolute error we have calculated as 0.11 seconds, divided by A mean we have calculated as this 2.62 seconds. 2.62 seconds. So it comes out to be 0. While you will solve this expression, 0.04. So this is the relative error, and now final is the percentage error. So percentage error, as you know, that if I express this relative error or fractional error in terms of percentage, it will become percentage error. So it will calculated as simply by multiplying 100 to this relative error. So the relative percentage error is equal to delta A mean divided by A mean into 100. So this we have already calculated, it is 0.04. So 0.04 multiplied by 100 comes out to be 4%. So this will be the final answer. So percentage error is 4%, relative error is 0.04, and absolute errors are, these are the absolute errors. So this is how we will solve such type of numerical problems on the topic errors, we can say. So thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please share this video with your friends. Thank you very much once again for watching this video.